Hi everybody, my name is Gene Joly. I'm president of Musicians Friend, and we're talking to you today from the campus of Musicians Friend in Westlake Village, California. I'm here with my good friend Jim D'Addario, who is the founder of D'Addario Company, which is the legendary string maker, also makes drumsticks, heads, cables, reeds, a lot of other things. And we're here to talk about all the innovative things that D'Addario has been doing the last couple decades, and the history of the company which goes back hundreds of years. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you.
So Jim, you had mentioned earlier that your dad was a pioneer on the introduction of hex wire in the 1930s, and you told me a story recently where you'd moved a lot of machinery from Massachusetts to the New York campus, and you have a totally new revolutionary process on hex wire. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure, it'd be a pleasure. I think this is like one of the accomplishments of our company that I'm most proud of from my career, actually. I find that we neglected this very important aspect of string making, the high carbon steel that goes into the core wire and also is used for the plain strings is the most important component of a steel string set. There are like 3 steps to make the wire. You draw it down from bigger wire down to smaller. It gets harder as you do it, so you can make it too hard and it'll be brittle and break, or you can make it too soft and it'll stretch and not stay in tune. And then we straighten it and then we coat it with a tin coating to keep it from tarnishing. And 3 years ago, I challenged everybody, my engineering staff, I said, okay, we're gonna budget whatever it takes to make the best music wire ever made. A wound strings are, you know, they've got a winding on them and a core wire. So most guitar strings are 1 winding on a core. Bass strings, they could be up to 3 or 4 windings, but different layers to build up the big diameter. But let's just look at a standard string with 1 winding on it. If you wind on a round core wire, the wrap wire will just spring off and the string will be dead. So in order to hold that wire on, they have to do something to that core. They have to rough it up or peen it at the end so that the wire is held at the twist and it's held at the peens. And when you put it on, you get it in tune. It could stay, you know, stable and not go dead, although it's high risk when you use a round core. So my dad was always an advocate of hex cores from the 30s. He was one of the pioneers, and he really wanted to use hex wire on everything, and I still believe in the same. But the idea of the hex wire is that you looked at a cross-section of the wire, it's got 6 points and 6 flats.
So it grabs
so when the softer wrap wire goes around it, it bites into that core. I mean, it's still around the outside of the string. Problem is, though, making hex wire is very difficult because somebody has to make a die out of tungsten carbide, and they have to make that perfect hex shape in there. And when you start drawing this really hard wire, this high carbon steel through there, that shape starts to wear, and the die gets slightly bigger as you're running. Well, it was always a challenge to get hex core wire with a perfect shape. We used to use a little micrometer test where we stick it in the micrometer, we click, you hear the clicks. We've got digital laser inspection on these machines now that shows us the peaks and the valleys, the flats and the points. And we are holding a hex shape now that's like nothing you ever seen before. And what that means is our strings won't go dead. They'll be more consistent because the wrap is really biting in to those corners all the time. And now we're introducing a new string called MYXL, which is the strongest electric guitar string ever made. We took an ESP guitar with a tremolo, put a pneumatic piston on it, and a plucking apparatus.
It's a real stress test, right?
Right, and we put 6 010 strings on there, 3 of the new formula, 3 of our regular. And we set it to go E, to tune them all to E and just pluck them. And the MYXL ones, the new ones, hold the pitch, and the other ones drop a few cents as you're plucking them. You have to keep tuning and settle them in. They settle into pitch better, and they hold the pitch better after they've settled in. And then we started stretching it with the tremolo while we're plucking, and we would go to G, and you'd really hear the pitch drop on the other strings because when you start stretching them. And when you go to G sharp, which is a ridiculous bend, the whole major third, the regular strings would all pop, and the new ones hold. You could go.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really a big improvement.
So they're going to break less and settle into holding the pitch.
We've kind of nailed it, and we're really coming to market with this new string in a big way. April 1, NYXL.
NYXL.
New York.
New York.
Because the wire is made in New York.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for being here today from Westlake Village, California, Musician's Friend.